Oklahoma. Family members made the discovery yesterday. An investigation is now underway. SpaceX lit up the Southern California sky with another rocket launch from Santa Barbara County. The Falcon 9 rocket took off from Vandenberg Space Force Base right on time at 8:20 Thursday night. The rocket was carrying spy satellites for the National Reconnaissance Office. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Celebrating hardworking teachers of New Orleans Public Schools is what we do best. Join New Schools for New Orleans, Allstate, Sugar Bowl, and Interstate New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 3rd annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. If you want to check out the awardees in the schools where they teach at, please visit noeta, noeta.org. You can also purchase tickets to the gala via the website too. Let's send these teachers some love for all the hard work they do with our students.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Wake up, New Orleans. No doubt about it. OT, Dr. White, and the bird. Nyron on the box. Good morning to you, Doc.
Good morning. I missed you.
Yeah, man. But man, look, y'all did awesome yesterday. Really was.
Listen,
Yeah, I got a chance to listen in while I was, in transit, running, doing what I had to do. So, thank y'all. You hold it. Let me say, you are natural.
Well, thank you. That means a lot coming from you, OT.
Yeah, no, you are a natural. As a matter of fact, you might.
Don't start nothing.
You might. This might be. Hold on a second. Reporting live from CNN, MSNBC, BBC, and Fox. Dr. Ashanti White.
You think so? You think so?
Yeah. Three words: qualified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But yeah, no, wow. So another shooting, another mass shooting.
Yeah.
And we were saying when I came in, but they charged how'd the father go out and buy weapons of mass destruction for a 14-year-old?
And Oliver, he did so after the FBI visited his home, like in May of 23,
Correct.
because the child apparently was making threats pertaining to a school shooting. So the FBI visited the father. The father said that there were hunting guns in the home, but that the child didn't have access to the guns. So he did not tell the truth to the FBI.
Right.
And then months later for Christmas, he purchased an AR-15 and gifted it to his son, who then used that same weapon to shoot up the school and killed 2 students, 2 teachers, and he wounded 9 others.
Man, look, let me say this. Even I respect the right to bear arms.
Absolutely.
I respect people's ability to protect themselves. But hunting and hurting is 2 different things.
Well, for some people, hunting is to hurt, if you think about it. That's their practice. And there's no way on God's green earth that we should gift an AR-15 to a high school student as a Christmas present in the wake of him making threats about shooting up his school.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. Well, first of all, what are people arming up for? Because, as an outdoorsman, I took my son during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We had a weekend at a friend's camp and want him to love the outdoors. But I'm not buying him no AR-15. I'm not buying him no Uzi. I'm not buying him no AK-47.
Well, that's where the common sense comes in when we talk about common sense gun reform. But also, too, Oliver, there are schools where shooting those type of weaponry are part of the school day. Like they have archery in certain schools. There are schools that have they're shooting guns at PE.
I have a bow.
They're shooting
an arrow off.
So nobody's asking for your Second Amendment to be washed away. What we're asking for is common sense gun control to protect our children. And arming teachers, in my opinion, because I'm an educator, is not a fix. It's not a fix.
Well, the first thing me and one of my friends we were talking about, especially after the shooting, was what are our schools now? I mean, are schools armed camps where kids are prisoners during the day and protected by high level security? So your first thought isn't learning. Your first thought is living.
Yeah. Yeah. And schools used to be sanctuaries, safe spaces, safe havens. So you could have all the crime you want in your community, but when you went to school, I know at least for me that was
Right.
my experience. School sheltered you from all of that.
I
From
never-
8 to 3, you were a child.
I never forget. We had a program at Craig School. Me and Brother Hakim, myself, and some other men, and we would pick a school to go talk to the kids. And we had a program where they gathered all the kids in the cafeteria, and we showed up. Brother Hakim and I showed up, and they had the metal detectors and the guards. And real true incident, right? Him and I still talk about that today, and how difficult it was for him. When we went to walk in, he stopped, and he paused for a second. He's like, "Hold on a second, let me get myself together." I said, "Well, what's wrong, man?" He said, "I just did 23 years of a 30-year sentence. This is what I walked in and out of."
Well,
And so psychologically,
absolutely.
he wasn't prepared. And I understand. I was like, he says, "Let me mentally get myself together." He says, and he speaks at prisons and institutions. He says, "I'm going to talk to a group of kids about life and education. I'm not going to talk to my inmates."
Yeah. But that's what they treat a lot of our children as. That's how a lot of our schools are set up. And if you look at the demographics, Oliver, we know that the most over-policed schools aren't the places where these shootings are taking place.
I mean, this place, and the one in Florida, but they look like college campuses.
Yes.
They didn't look like
Nothing
like
here.
no schools in our neighborhood.
Yes. And so, like, with all of the resources, with all of these all of these smart people, all of this ingenuity, why can't we figure out how to have common sense gun reform that continues to respect the Second Amendment but protects our most valuable assets?
Because there's a group that is arming themselves, not because they have the right to bear arms or to protect themselves. They're arming themselves with this false fear.
So when
Of
does
a
your right
conflict.
infringe on our liberty? Like, when does that happen? Like, you can just continue to murder children with impunity, and then there's nothing put in place to protect us. Like, Columbine happened how many years ago? I was still in high school.
Yeah.
So there's something wrong here if 25 years after the fact we're still talking about the same things with zero resolve.
Well, I've been to foreign countries where there's a lot of poverty and the economy is very estranged, and it's very difficult. But there's nobody shooting each other.
And what country was that, Oliver? Do you remember what country was that where they had the one incident? I can't remember where it was, but there was one school shooting,
Yeah.
and they went straight to the legislator
Yeah.
and created policy
Yeah.
around protecting its
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
And here we are,
Right.
how many school shootings in?
Yeah. In Denmark and Sweden. And
Yeah.
someplace you can't be. I mean, even their prisons don't have fences.
Because their goal is to actually rehabilitate
Yeah, the
folks
goal-
so they
because-
can prepare them
Yeah.
for a society, right? It's not to have them
That-
worse off than than when they came.
that. Well, the city council passed some new regulations.
Oh, what do you know
for
about
sewage
that?
and water board, man, where it prohibits estimating. They can't walk in front of your door, knock Dr. White, and say, "Yes, you owe your $2 million."
Oh,
Because that's what we estimate.
it wasn't. It wasn't $2 million.
We know
but
your bills averaged $120
Yes.
for the last
Uh-huh.
15 years, but it said $2 million.
Mine was $1,700 at one point, and they told me the best that they could do was half even though they discovered the leak. They knew
Right.
there was a leak.
Right.
They asked me to verify that there was a leak, and if I could verify, then they would take it down by half. Even though my bill was like $40, $60 prior to that. Like, now I have swimming pools in my house, apparently.
Well, first of all, congratulations. Congratulations to Councilmember Morrell
Yeah.
and the team and others who really looked at this long before it became a real public issue.
Yeah.
It's at least have some consumer protections. Now, there used to be some
Mhm.
protections because I'll never forget the late Dorothy Taylor and Roy Glapion and being on the Sewage and Water Board. They used to have council members on the Sewage and Water Board. Mitch Landrieu moved to take council members off the Sewage and Water Board.
Mhm.
And then, of course, it changed. Well, I recommended through my committee one council member back
Mhm.
on the Sewage and Water Board. And there were community people who
Right.
served on the sewage. Look,
There should always be community people.
I tell people all the time, I said, there's value in having someone who just represents the common sense, everyday stuff
Yes.
of everyday people.
Yes.
And I'll say this, the business hustlers and the capitalists have used the media
Hmm.
and politicians to say that, oh, no, we need scientists and engineers and doctors and university professors
Hmm.
on all the boards and commissions. No, you may need one,
Right.
but you need Miss Sally,
Hmm.
Mr. Joe,
Yeah.
Reverend Preacher Lot,
Absolutely. Because by and large,
that
most
school
of the time,
teacher.
those people you speak of aren't struggling in the same ways that I'm
Right.
struggling. They're not impacted in the same ways. So it's
Bingo.
a different perspective,
There's
right?
a different perspective.
It's a different perspective, and everybody benefits from a vast amount of perspectives because I can bring something that you probably didn't even think of.
Right.
You can say something that I didn't have the capacity to think of.
Because it's not your lived
It's not.
experience.
It's not my lived experience, and it's not my expertise.
But
But if you bring expertise
That's right.
and lived
That's
experience to the table,
That's
then
right.
you can come up.
Roy Glapion and Dorothy Taylor, if it was something about Tiddlywinks, the first thing they'd say is, okay, so how does this affect our seniors? Because
Exactly.
that was their thing.
That's exactly.
How does this affect our seniors? What can we do to mitigate harm to them?
Hmm.
Right? How do we protect them? But now and this is where the press, right, is so easily swayed by whatever the trend is
Yeah.
for or against the moment, right? They will lead that charge, not knowing or not even worrying about whether its best practices are the best thing to do, or
Right.
not,
Sometimes people just want to hear themselves talk.
including reporters.
They just want to
and
make
and
this-
journalists.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's only right that the layperson have a voice in any form of
the
government.
taxpayer.
Absolutely. You take my money. What's that
Yeah.
taxation or that representation? Like,
But that's,
Yes.
yeah, but that and I look at a lot of the pastors now, right? They'll give up their support. Some of them will support folk. And I remember when you had a minister, especially a community pastor, on a board, on a commission.
yes.
Then they don't even consider that anymore. But I think someone should be represented from every walk of life. It doesn't mean that you don't have some engineers or water experts on the board, but that's what the employees are for.
Yeah. I mean, think about it in terms of voting, Oliver. The scientist, the diplomat, the president, their vote isn't worth more than my vote. We all going into the same boot and
Right.
pressing the same
Right.
button.
Correct.
So I don't understand how do you downplay or ignore the voice of the layperson when we're making decisions that impact those people by and large, right?
Well, at least now, so maybe there's a common sense effort back to what government ought to be. And what government ought to be is representative, which
the
means that
people.
their voices, it's just like Abraham Lincoln's and Barack Obama's team of rivals, right? Neither was afraid. Now, I think Obama went too far sometimes, but neither was afraid to put challenging voices in the room to give you something to think about.
Right.
And then you take all of that, you get all that information, and then you make a decision that's, when you do that, that's mostly going to represent everybody.
Right.
Everybody always going to be happy.
Mhm.
But when you get people together with different opinions,
Yes.
it's like people who have yes men and yes women in the room. There's no way you can make
You won't grow that way either.
Yeah, and there's no way you can make a good decision.
You won't grow either.
You can't be challenged.
Yeah. And that's, to me, in kind of a segue into this idea of forums during political season, right? The forums are your opportunity to talk
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
your constituents.
Yeah. That's
I
what
don't understand how certain people are allowed to forego those experiences, but you want to have me believe that you're the best representation for me, but you don't even think enough of me to show up
There are people who don't
to
go.
talk about your platform to me.
Yeah, there are people now who it's just social media.
They just don't go.
or they just use ads, and they will not get in front. They will not get in front of what they consider a crowd that is not managed
Yeah.
by them.
But that's also reflective of the experience you're going to have when y'all are sitting on a council. You can't filter the people that come
No,
to
you
the
can't.
microphone to share their experiences, because these are people impacted by the decisions that the city is making.
Right.
And if you can run from the forum, then how are you going to actually be effective in your role when the folk come to talk to you at the council?
I went to 25 events once in the community, and it's in this time around, it's different from service, right? I went to 25 events and we counted them. Saw one elected official.
I mean, do they not think it's important?
No, not anymore. What they know is they can use social media, they can use advocates, and they can show up election time.
Well,
And that's what they believe. Now, and they've been right. The last several elections, they've been right. Democracy by subtraction is a real thing. It's a phrase I coined, where the system knows it doesn't have to add people. It can subtract people and come up with a core group that it can manage.
That's how these studies are done.
That is
when they go around and tell you how well the schools are doing, that's because it was democracy by subtraction. You talk to a specific subset of people who are going to give you the answers that you're looking for.
Look, one of the great examples of that was the recall effort. It showed how the media and pollsters and consultants had no idea how people really feel or how they would conduct themselves. So whether you like the mayor or not, folk are like, y'all can't tell us what to do.
They don't understand the New Orleans mentality either. Like, you have to respect the culture of this community.
Right.
It would be one thing if I
Right.
felt a part of the,
Right.
but you were literally trying to
Right.
like bully
Right.
me and to, and then wasn't there some Disney characters or something?
Yeah, and it took $3 million that could have gone to a
$3 million.
a cause, right?
$3 million.
Yeah, and this is for folk who don't know Black folk. We have learned how to smile in your face, take your money, and still do what we want, just like other people.
Well,
have.
I would want more of us to learn how to do that,
Yeah,
because some
yeah,
of us
yeah.
smile in your face,
Yeah.
take your money, and
Right.
do what I want you to do.
And say how high.
Yeah,
When they
at
ask you to
the
jump, they say
expense
hi.
of other folk.
When you ask you to
So
jump, they say
a lot
hi.
of us are still not there yet.
but those are the people who they're not proud of us. They don't want to
No.
be us.
They don't want to be themselves
Right.
either. They don't want to be black
They
either.
pick the other dog.
Yeah, because white ice is colder, they say.
They pick,
Is it?
They picked the other dog. Hey, we're going to take a break. We got a great show lined up. We're going to talk to Sets 45. Community involvement, man, like no other, from youth to education to rallying men and young men. And then, of course, Miss Inspire Nola, the CAO. This is the NOLA Love Summit, man, month. Jamar McNeely, education. Pastor Jonathan Everett, who's bringing in T.D. Jakes. We got some high-level inspiration.
I'm trying to tell you
We
something.
got some high-level inspiration. WBOK 1230 a.m. Whose station?
Our station.
It's our station, y'all.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK 1230 AM and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
Welcome back to school, families and scholars. NOLA Public Schools is excited to kick off another exciting year of learning, growth, and success. Our dedicated teachers have been preparing all summer to provide an engaging and enriching experience for every student. Let's embrace new challenges, celebrate achievements, and make this school year the best one yet. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS by visiting our social media channels. Here's to a year filled with curiosity, creativity, and community. Attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Mount Hermon Baptist Church Hospitality presents The New Black Wall Street, Saturday, September 21st at 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Have a chance to introduce your products and services to a captivating audience, calling all small business owners, food vendors, authors, body care products, wellness boutiques, clothing merchandise, and much more at Mount Hermon Baptist Church, 3512 U.S. Highway 90 in Avondale. This event is free to the public. To become a vendor or for more information, contact 504-436-8062.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show
Good morning.
on WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Man, you know, Doc, they're not giving much attention to it, but people need to pay attention. We got some school board elections, not just the presidential election, right?
Not just the presidential election.
Yeah.
We do have school board races, and it's District 2 and District 4 are the contested races for
Right.
the Orleans Parish School Board. And in one of those races, we have three prospective candidates. Gabrielle is one, Chan Tucker is one, and Eric Jones. And then in the other race, Dr. Donaldo
Dr. Donaldo
Batista is the
Batista.
incumbent,
Right.
and he's running against Katrina Griffin. So yeah, very important.
Yeah, and
key
there's no doubt about
races.
it.
Absolutely.
These school board races will probably determine the community schools' effort or momentum in terms of the ability to reclaim schools and
Yeah.
have neighborhood and community. So look, I tell folk all the time, right? I just want our kids educated,
Yes.
but I want your model to work.
Yes.
That's I want your model to support positive income
That's it.
outcomes. Right?
Yes. And here's the thing. That's the thing. And I've been here enough as a guest for you to know where I stand, because everybody paints me as this anti-charter.
No.
I am not anti-charter. I am pro-children. I am pro-public education.
Yes, you are.
You could call the school whatever you like if it is working to the benefit of the majority of our children. And what we've seen is our current system is not doing that. And I'm going to be critical of it until it actually works to the benefit of the majority of our children. So when kids can't read, that should be alarming to everybody
Everyone.
in the city. So don't tell me that I'm anti-charter, because listen, you've slapped the charter label on several schools that were public education, public schools prior to the state takeover, right? Those schools were doing well then, and they're doing well now. So that tells me no matter what you call it, the system works.
The system works.
Right? That's all we want.
Yeah.
Replicate that, and you won't hear me say anything.
But true choice to me is I can get up, walk out my door, look across the street, and see an institution that works for me.
True choice is options.
Yeah.
You ever been to a restaurant and
Yeah.
they only have one thing? And what you mean? I don't eat pork. So
Yeah.
how you want me to eat this
Right,
pork chop?
right.
I don't belong here.
Right.
That's how I look at it. You're
Right.
telling me it's choice,
Right.
but you only give me one option. So really and truly, it's not authentic choice. And then my choices are to choose between moderately failing, severely failing.
Well, what got me was when I think about my old educators, like Joyce Mumford or Miss Hand there, Coach Riley,
Uh-huh.
you know, and some of those, Miss Washington, some of those teachers, man, Mr. Gilmore at Lawless, right? Miss Taylor, when I think about, like, they never would have made a D equal a C.
You was gonna get that F,
You was
and you wasn't going to practice. you wasn't going to practice
and you was going to be in detention
in study hall.
in study hall.
Absolutely,
That's
that's the era
absolutely
we come
correct.
from.
They wasn't going to curve it.
No, curve what? They're gonna curve you right to that bench, and you're gonna figure out
That is
how to get those
absolutely
grades
correct.
up, and then you can touch the
Yeah.
court. I went to Edna Carr when it was a magnet school.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
You couldn't make
Yeah.
C's. You were going to C's and D. You were going to summer
It was
school.
competition.
Absolutely. And I had coaches. Carolyn Patterson was my volleyball coach. Douglas Blackman was my basketball coach. Frank Wilson was my softball coach. And Coach Hardy was my track coach.
Yeah.
None of them would allow me to touch a court or a track if
No.
my grades were not right.
No.
As a matter of fact, you wasn't even going to clear. You
Right.
know, you have to
That's
clear. They have to
absolutely
put
right.
your stuff through the system and it clears you. You wasn't getting cleared like that. So I don't know if the system changed or.
So let me ask you a question, right? As an educator, because this is what I remember about school,
hmm
right? Especially in junior high,
Yeah.
in elementary school. My parents had a relationship with the administrators and the educators,
Mhm.
right? But I remember that there were certain rules of the system and certain rules that your family had set out with the coach or the teachers. And there were after school programs that fit that.
Yes.
So I remember being in detention,
hmm
right? But I also remember being in after school programs for study
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Those don't seem to exist anymore, where teachers and administrators were actually stayed after school, sometimes till 6:30,
Yeah.
where you were there catching up or being disciplined in an educational environment.
Yeah.
I go to schools now, 4 o'clock, 3:30, they close. Everybody out.
Olive, I coached everybody. I have athletes all over this city. I coached at several high schools here, and I did study hall before we practiced. So all of your homework was getting done. I need to see
That's
it
how
in
we do in
notes
college.
from the
That's
from
how
the
we- that's how we
teacher.
did in college.
You know, like
Yeah.
you. And then I
Right.
visited my children's classrooms to make certain that they were
Right.
doing what they needed to do, because you can't touch my volleyball court if your grades are not right.
Right.
And as a coach, I also made certain that everything about them was right,
Uh-huh.
from the head to your feet. You're not coming to school without your hair put together, right? And if you need something, you need to call me beforehand. I'm gonna
Absolutely.
make sure you get it. But
Right.
you're a representation of yourself, of my
Yeah.
program, of your parents, and you're gonna walk as such. And that's you. If you look good, you play good. That's how I felt anyway.
That's right.
And if the grades are not right, then you couldn't even play for me. That's the kind of coach I was. And I mean, you know, I was coach of the year in 2015-16 season over at John Ehret High School.
Yeah, but you brought a standard.
Absolutely. But what I learned and what I know about children, they want the structure and they
Yes, they
want
do.
the standard. They
Yes,
want
they
to
do.
try to live up to the
Yes, they
standard.
do.
But if you have very limited expectations of our children, then you can't complain when they give you very limited outcomes.
So my question is there a requirement now that teachers and administrators don't stay after school? Or it's just choice?
Well, because we don't have actual people vested in our profession.
Uh-huh.
Because see, when you love what you do and when
Right.
you went to school for it and this is all you
Right.
wanted to do your whole life,
Right.
the principal didn't have to ask you to stay and prep your lesson. You
Right.
prep that lesson because you want to make certain that you're not rushing the next day.
Uh-huh.
Anything can happen. You want to be prepared. Veteran educators, teaching was a lifestyle. Now it's just a paycheck. And that's the difference. Like education, this profession was so revered at one point, and now it's just a means to an end. This is let me pay my student loans off. You know, let me have a job where I could be off during the summer. You know what I mean? And holidays. That's what this is about now. This is not necessarily about excellence in academia. And
Well,
that's where we differ.
Well, are you a proponent of year-round school?
So
Talk to me.
I'm not opposed to year-round schools. I've seen some models where it worked, but when they have the year-round schools, they still have the built-in breaks and things
Right.
of that nature. So it's not like they're
Right.
just 24/7 going
Right.
to school.
Right.
So I'm not against that model. If it works for kids, that's where the true authentic choice comes from, right? If I feel like my child will benefit from that, that should be an option for me. If I feel like that could be overload for my child, because some children have exceptionalities where that will just will
Right.
not work.
Right.
That's where authentic choice comes from.
Okay.
So I'm not opposed to it. If it works for your child, it should be an option for you.
Yeah, that's a different definition of choice. Probably the most expansive
Yeah.
or versatile choice definition that I've ever heard is that the ability to choose whatever fits for your child.
And nobody believes me when I tell them I chose the school that I wanted my son to go to because that's what the charter law says. I don't care where I live.
Right.
It says I can choose my school,
Yeah,
right?
You took advantage of
And
that.
and I use theirs.
Right.
And then when I tell people that, they act like, well, you Dr. White, you could do that. No, I'm Cameron's mama. Right? Before I was Dr. White, I was Cameron's mama, and my goal is to make certain that he has the best of everything, and that includes access to the better schools. I'm not letting anybody relegate my child to failure. You're not.
Camera.
I won't. My son gonna go where your child go.
Cam's mama said, my choice is this.
That's it.
This is my choice.
That's my choice. That's what you said, right?
Absolutely.
That's the horse you rode in on. You said parents should have say in where their child goes to school, which is why you're busing our kids all over the place, right? So why can't I choose?
No doubt. Hey, and on that note, happy birthday, Ali.
Happy birthday, Ali.
Yeah, I woke him up this morning and I said, man, I said, happy birthday, you're 7, huh? He said, no, I'm 8. But so one thing kids don't like, man, when you drop them a year, he said, I'm 8.
I earned that year.
He said, I'm 8. Yeah.
So what's on the table today for his birthday?
Wow, his choice of
choice. I like that.
Where he wants to go tomorrow, Children's Museum.
Okay.
And he's got to lay it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, his daddy OT. I'm sure he could go anywhere he wanted in this city.
No, I wish. Well, his sister. His sister Willow wanted to see snow for her birthday.
Okay, so she won't change
for
zip
her
codes.
first teenage birthday.
Yeah,
and we did that.
Yeah, listen.
I'm glad Ollie wasn't there.
Not yet. Almost. Almost.
Yeah, almost. No, but he had his thing. So he's got his little partners and a couple of his little cousins and Children's Museum.
Okay, that's a good pick.
Yeah,
that's
and he picked it.
That's a good pick.
But today he wants pizza.
Okay.
And he knows what he wants. He knows what all he wants is cheese pizza. So I
can roll with Ali.
Yeah,
I can roll with him.
That's it. I get all that stuff on mine: mushroom, pineapple. I said, "You want pizza?" No tomato.
Picking it all up.
Yeah. He said, "No. What kind of pizza you want? Cheese." But what's crazy though? He don't want cheese on his hamburger.
That's not crazy. It's not the same cheese that's on the pizza. Make it like the pizza, he might eat it. It's not crazy.
That's just I said, man, how you want cheese pizza? But because I'll make them, I put cheese on cheese.
No, right? I could do it out it.
I'll make and he'll put, I'll put mistaken and put a cheese on his burger, and he's like,
no,
take that off.
Run that burger through that oven like that pizza.
Let me tell you what he did one time. I had cooked the burger so good and put the cheese on it while it was about to cook through and let it melt through.
I bet he liked it.
And I thought I had made it so good, right? And he had one and I had one. He said, Daddy, I don't eat cheese. I said, Ollie, I'm not going to be able to scrape it off because it melted through. He said, I'll eat it this time.
But don't do that again.
Don't do that no more. Line number 1, First Lady of WBOK, Miss Jones. God bless you.
Good morning to you and to Dr. White and to the audience. And also, happy birthday to O.T. Jr.
Yeah, your boy, 8 years old today. And Lord, let me say this. We having so much trouble clothing him. His feet. He's 8 years old with 10, 11-year-old feet. And it seems like every month
it goes up a size.
That's the most challenging thing. And these kids now, Miss Jones, I can't go to Walmart and buy no
get the little light up shoes.
No, you better not think about going there. You better not think about it. I remember 7 years ago carrying him. He was following those balloons.
Yeah, remember I had him in my little pouch on my chest and my back? Yeah.
At that park on Gentilly Boulevard.
But let me tell you, him and I both, he came with me when I did the Teen Talk interview.
Okay.
So the Teen Talk interview, man, was probably the best interview I'd ever done, and I've been interviewed by every major network in this world, right? And he was with me, and so they asked him a question, had him sitting there, because Dr. White, we believe in exposing our kids.
Absolutely.
We don't think in no setting should be strange to them, right?
Absolutely.
So they asked him a question, Miss Jones, and I thought, because sometimes he can be a little shy if people put him on the spot. I don't think he's shy. I think he'd be tripping, right? But they asked him, so what is it that you like about your dad? And we see you here sitting next to him while he does his interview. And he says, I like that my daddy takes me places and allows me to see things with him.
I told you children want structure. They want expectations.
And I thought I was going to have to urge him to say something,
No.
Miss Jones, and he didn't.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to bring him a voter's registration if you don't have one.
Yes, Miss Jones, yes.
Now, I do what my mama did with us. They were going at voting booth, and I would tell them to press.
Absolutely. Did it with Cam, and now he's voting on his own now.
You press the lever.
Yes.
So, Miss Jones, he wants a pizza party. That's what we got. We got Children's Museum tomorrow. And I'm going to let him know. I'm going to give him a special hug and some love from you. You got it.
Yes, please do that.
You got that,
I
baby.
still have the picture that you sent via telephone.
Yeah, and I'm going to send you some more pictures from this weekend, because let me say this. This 8-year-old dude is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And, I forgot. My oldest son, of course, I lost him at an early age. But Leah, it was different with the young girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through these stages with Leah. Leah's 31 now, and because Willow's 14. So that's a whole nother thing.
Yes.
And her and Leah was similar. But with Ollie, it's this 8-year-old dude totally different from the 7, 6, and 5-year-old dude. He's different.
And he's going to be different every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah, he different.
Give him a big hug.
I will. Well, love you, Miss Jones. God bless you.
Love you all too, and Dr. White. Thank you so much. My cousin is very impressed, very excited.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome, Miss Jones.
Appreciate you. This what I don't like about the 8-year-old dude and his partner. His partner is Aiden, who live across the street.
Mm-hmm.
Right. His other partners is his little cousin, Troy's son. But his partner is Aiden. And they call each other, we're my partner, right? Now, I can be imposing, right? Big dude, I can have a big voice, I can play the role my daddy used to play. They both have figured out that don't mean nothing. I don't know how to recover. Maybe you can help me recover. Because Aiden, I used to be able to shake Aiden up with me, and his mom and dad was like, handle him, do what you got to do, because they trust me, right?
They done figured you out. Well, here's the thing. You asking the wrong person, because Cameron, he has figured out the wiring inside of me, and you asking the wrong person, because Cameron is my only child.
Right.
And I am literally going through this transition of not having my son in the same house with me. And that is not easy. And then, but what I can say is he misses me too, because he FaceTimes me every single day, asking me what I'm doing. What you doing, Mama?
But my daddy had a look and an imposing figure on me till I was teenage years. These boys is 8, and now when I try to be
it's
big
laughable.
old-ish, they're like...
You laugh, they're laughing at you. No.
They're snickering.
They laughing at, it's not going to work. It's not going to work, OT. I mean, you're a different kind of parent too now. Because I think I say the same thing about my mama.
True.
I'm trying to figure out what version of my mama did my brother get. Because the things that he could get away with, I could tell you right now, that wasn't going to fly when I was younger. So I think when we get older, we get maybe softer.
I never forget my daddy telling us, me and my brother Nardi, he said, well, I ain't got no money for no car, but I can help you out with a bus pass, so you can go to work, get you one.
Yeah.
But when my sister was ready to go to St. Mary's, he made sure that
a car picking up and dropping off. Yeah.
She had a car.
Oh, she had a car. No bus for her.
Yeah. Then when she was able to drive, I'm like, oh, I thought you said you had. He said I had no money for no car for y'all.
I'm telling you, OT, I think as we get older, we get softer, because I have a little cousin. Her name is Leilani Rose. and she is the granddaughter of my auntie Val,
Mm-hmm.
and she's the niece of my auntie Linnell. But you could not tell Linnell that Leilani is not her child. Linnell doesn't have kids, so she helped raise all of us, right? And the things that this little girl gets away with, the toys that she has access to, it looks like Toys R Us, and she just gets what she wants, however she wants it. And I don't remember that being our experience. Like, we had things, but it wasn't like that. Leilani is living the dream, okay? And she's about to have a birthday. And I think they're doing like some type of tiki, like tent spa day thing inside the house.
Yeah,
we had Chuck E. Cheese.
We did Willow did the TP thing, where everybody, all our friends had TP.
Yes. I mean, she's living the dream, and she's getting ready to have the party at the house, and Linnell and Val gonna make sure they have. And my auntie Val, I told you, she could cook. She's good with her hands. She could create anything. So, you know, the little girl is living her dream. So I think, you know, as we get older, we get softer. So Ali is getting the best version of OT.
Yeah, well,
Leilani is getting the best version of Linnell and Val. That's what I think is happening here.
And Cameron got you. Cameron got you.
Cameron, I listen. Cameron is very blessed. He's my only kid, though, Oliver. What do you do? It's just he's the only one, and he's not a baby no more. That's hard.
No, he ain't a baby no more. And he put tears in your eyes when he went off to school.
He does. Listen, Oliver. I can remember when Cameron first started playing sports. He was playing football, and when Cameron scored his first touchdown, I was the parent running down the sideline while he was running to the end zone. I was that kind of parent. I'm the parent you're gonna hear scream his name. I don't care how many people in the stadium. That's my boy. And that's normally what I was saying.
Well, look, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, they got rats in City Hall now.
Oh. I heard that
there's a stench.
Dead rats, huh?
Hopefully. Hopefully. WBO.
Even the rats want the building to move, huh?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
You know,
they need to put it in the east.
Ain't no rat like a dead rat. 504-582-9422. WBOK 1230 AM. Whose station?
Our station.
It's our station.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Today is another first warning weather alert day because of another potential for flooding. Some spots already have more than 3 inches of rain, with an additional 3 to 5 on the way. Rain will happen all day and linger into the first half of Saturday. Highs for today will be into the upper 70s to lower 80s. By the time we do make it to the rest of the weekend, dew points will start to drop and things will feel a whole lot better. For the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Discover the Leah Chase School, NOLA Public Schools' first new direct-run traditional public school in nearly 2 decades. We offer excellence in math, science, English, and social studies, focusing on unlocking every child's potential. Every scholar receives a personal device, regular assessments, clear family communication, as well as transportation services in a nurturing, arts-inclusive environment. Secure your child's K through 5th grade slot today. Apply at enrollnolaps.com and embark upon a unique educational journey. Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back, man. WBOK 1230 a.m. It's our station, 504-582-9422. J Mac in the house already while we wait on Cess 45. No doubt about it. But hey, yeah. It's foul, Councilmember Oliver Thomas said, who along with other council members lamented. No, I ain't lament. It stunk. Lamented. You know, so if stinking is lamenting, then it's, I lamented the physical conditions of city-owned buildings. City-owned facilities are becoming more and more unhealthy to work in. It's crazy, Thomas said. You had to close down part of the hall because the odor was so foul, so malodorous.
Is this George again? Is George coming back?
Man, Lord, today, yeah. So you know it's bad when you got to tell people on a whole wing go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they said it was dead rats. Man, okay. Well, they always had rats in City Hall.
Always.
Yeah, but find them. Go get them.
Is it better now?
It wasn't yesterday.
It wasn't yesterday.
I'm gonna find out today, but it wasn't yesterday, man. And look, I know public employees get a bad rap, but there's some good ones, man. There are people who that's been their life, right? And they deserve better pay. They deserve better working conditions, and they got a lot of good people, man, who show up to do the job. And man, that odor was so bad, Doc. When you hit that door, the one going to where the Subway and the Smoothie King is, going by the arena, that end of City Hall.
Yeah.
Ooh, before you hit the door.
But I'm trying to understand, how does it get to that point? Like, was it not something that was gradually starting to, like, that doesn't smell okay? Because how do you get to the point of, like, evacuating people? Like, that's wild.
Well, yeah, and that's what was frustrating to me. You know, it's like the rats eating the weed in the evidence room. You know, they ain't just start. You know, when you see, if over 10, 15 years, you got rats snacking, right?
New Orleans is not a real place. New Orleans is not a real place.
You got,
the rats are high.
You know, I tell people all the time, a very prominent restaurant in the city, in the quarter where I used to go, and when the roach asked me what I was going to order, he said, "What you getting?"
Because he needs to know. Because some things he might not eat.
Pull right up on the wall. They say, "What you getting?" So we, you know,
yeah.
But but man, that whole wing was smelling.
Nobody heard the rats in the walls. Like, I don't think this is something that it just
wasn't anybody
one day
checking. Right?
Wasn't anybody checking?
You know, it wasn't there. Who's the exterminator? You know, they've always had rats in City Hall. So, I mean, what's the method? You know, who's on top of it? Just like the rats in the evidence room. The rats didn't just start eating the weed in the evidence room with the police department. You know, that's the descendants of the rats who started to eat the weed.
When you said there've always been rats in City Hall, I was thinking literally and figuratively.
You know,
yeah.
You know, my cousin worked the police department. When a rat rolled up on him and asked him for a dime bag or a 20, that rat didn't. You know, he learned that. That was learned behavior. Something different got to happen. Yeah.
Like we were talking about our different parenting styles. You know, as we get older. And, you know, the commentary for WBOK, the listeners are so smart. They listened to the interview with Marlon Wayans and on Club Shay Shay.
Uh-huh.
And they say Marlon said he feared God and his dad, but God only had a Bible and his daddy had that belt. So
I think, so that's what it is. Them kids know I ain't going to do them nothing.
That's it.
And let me say this, full disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the real big old, my pop, he said, you may not understand it when I try to reason with you. You may not understand it when I try to negotiate with you. You may not understand it when I try to show you what my opinion is. He said, but you understand pain.
Yeah.
He said, you will understand some pain. And he's right.
I think too that listen.
He was right. He's right.
Mm-hmm. The Club Shay Shay interview with Marlon was really dope, and it came in on the heels of DJ Vlad like trying to out Marlon because Marlon wanted a certain amount for his interview, and he tried to make Marlon feel like he wasn't worth that. Like, who gets to determine my value if this is my price?
Right.
That family is a conglomerate.
Oh,
like
no,
self-made.
one of the great entertainment
They've helped
families
make a lot of the people who
time.
you revere, right? Like
That's
the Jim
right.
Carreys and the J-Los of the world. They wouldn't be anything without the Wayans family. So to have him think or feel
they're our Osmonds.
Absolutely. And they are so loyal because he was telling a story on the Club Shay Shay interview about Mr. Witherspoon, who played the daddy on the Wayans brothers. He said the network wanted them, but they didn't want him.
Right.
And he said, it's us, all three of us, or it won't be no show. And he said the network said, well, it won't be a show. And then a WB came along and told them they wanted it. And he was like, well, if you want us, you got to take Mr. Witherspoon as well. And could you imagine anybody else as Pops?
Witherspoon, that's the late. I think he died.
Yeah, he died. He died about 5 years ago.
Man, that man was just his whole actions were funny.
Yes. Yes. He has a son now, a son that's carrying on the name and stuff like that. But the loyalty it takes to turn down a network deal, network TV, to be loyal to.
I love what the Wayans family
absolutely
has done. I mean, first of all, Living Color, and those scenes are indelible in our minds.
Yes.
You can't forget them. I mean, there are skits there that you'll never forget. We relive them.
Yeah.
It's like the Chappelle Show,
yeah.
right? They create characters.
But they're solely responsible for the careers of so many people.
That's right.
Entertainers, comedians.
J-Lo, Jamie Foxx.
It's amazing.
Tommy Davis.
It's amazing. And people are still having careers to this day because of In Living Color.
That's right. No doubt about it. No doubt. No. So, hey, look, man, that's one of the great entertainment families of our time. As a matter of fact, you know what my favorite character was in Living Color?
Let me hear it.
You know what my favorite character?
Tell me, I'm listening.
Let me explain something to you. Like it was the fluctuation of the situation. And see, I understand because I got all my degrees in here.
Mm-hmm.
So
listen, iconic before their time.
When he played that because I know people like that.
But you know how much that would kill right now on TikTok?
Who came out smart, huh?
You know how much that act right there would kill on TikTok? They were before their time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's viral instantly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like trendsetters.
That's viral.
Kingmakers.
And my other indelible character was, much as I love Dave Chappelle, right? Dave Chappelle is there with Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. And even the little Jewish guy, right, who's good. He was good. And George Carlin, but what's it with Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy?
Mm-hmm. Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy,
and he worked all the way up until he couldn't work anymore.
And just think about being in his brother's shadow all these years, but then becoming this wild, funny, iconic figure.
Yes.
Up until the time of his death, right? Because he created some characters that will live forever.
Yes. I mean, we are so, come on now, Black folk.
Talented.
Come on. It's a bottomless pit of what we are capable of. And so I just think the Wayans brothers, in my opinion, that entire family doesn't get enough love from the Black community in terms of what they mean to the entertainment sector. Like there's certain people who would not have careers, who wouldn't even be a household name if it weren't for those men and those women in that family. And he put everybody on.
He put everybody on.
Everybody.
Look at Jim Carrey.
He put everybody on.
Jim Carrey was like a secondary character on that show and became the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
They said they're also responsible for the Super Bowl having the type of halftime shows that they have right now because they did it as a skit on the show and talking about football like a toe. Watched the game last night?
Did I?
A toe.
The
game was decided by a toe.
Did I watch it? It's football season, y'all.
Kansas City and the Baltimore Ravens. That was quite a game. It came literally down to the
and I was so
last
glad
second.
both Mahomes and Lamar Jackson showed out.
Yes.
They both showed
Yes.
out, right? And you hated to see one team lose because they gave us a show.
They did. Well, that's all you really want to see, though. But so many of the rules are different now headed into this season that I'm just like, in like 5-10 years, they're gonna be playing flag because I mean it's just too many.
Yeah, no, it's
Too many.
It's soft. But look, we're gonna take a break, right, guys? And we're gonna come back. Got a great show lined up. Y'all know it's NOLA Love Day. It's the Youth Summit. Man, can't wait. There's a whole lot going on from Successful 5 to J Mac to what we do here in the studio. Happy Friday. Happy birthday, Ollie. Yeah, bro, you 8.
Save me a slice of pizza.
Yeah, I can't
Ollie.
wait till you're 28 with education, with your job, with your own car, with your own room, and buying your own food. Love you, man. We'll be back after the break. Whose station?
Our station.
It's our station.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The federal judge in Donald Trump's election interference case says the prosecution can present its evidence before the November election. African-American Judge Tanya Chutkan Thursday granted a proposal by the special counsel's office to make its case about the limits of Trump's immunity by September 26th. The bodies of 2 children are at a state medical examiner's office after they were found inside a car in Norman, Oklahoma. Family members made the discovery yesterday. An investigation is now underway. SpaceX lit up the Southern California sky with another rocket launch from Santa Barbara County. The Falcon 9 rocket took off from Vandenberg Space Force Base right on time at 8:20 Thursday night. The rocket was carrying spy satellites for the National Reconnaissance Office. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Celebrating hardworking teachers of New Orleans Public Schools is what we do best. Join New Schools for New Orleans, Allstate, Sugar Bowl, and Interstate New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 3rd annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. If you want to check out the awardees and the schools where they teach at, please visit noeta, noeta.org. You can also purchase tickets to the gala via the website too. Let's send these teachers some love for all the hard work they do with our students.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Hey, New Orleans, Tavis Smiley here, inviting you to join me each weekday evening at 7 p.m. right here on WBOK 1230 AM for the Tavis Smiley Show. You can expect great guests and getting the answers you need to know. It's the Tavis Smiley Show on our new home in New Orleans, WBOK 1230 AM.
Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Man, another tragedy, right? As much as we talk about the news and alternative news, while we're in the studio, guys, we usually have one of the major news networks on to be prepared for breaking news, current topics we talk about. And once again, we're faced with a shooting, a 14-year-old shot up, killed 4 people, and then shot up many of his classmates. It just doesn't seem to make sense. Let's go to the lines. Line number one, Brother Mims. Good morning to you, Brother Mims. You're on with Dr. Wyatt and OT.
Hey, listen to me. I just want to say this, and y'all may want to elaborate on it. The village ain't the same. Look, Oliver, I'm 70 years old. The late Kathleen Blanco appointed me to the parole board from the civil sheriff, Paul Valtour. And listen to me. I got people, I'm looking at kids, they pass, I'm sitting on my porch, and I say, good morning, and they look at you like you're crazy. I'm 70 years old, but kids want to call me, hey, Pops. I say, hey, I'm not Papa, you Mr. Mims. I'm not your equal. What I'm trying to say is there are parents, their children out here doing some things, and when something happens, Oliver, they want somebody to help them, but they don't let it go too far. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm just saying is that the village ain't the same. My mama beat my behind, and she didn't brutalize me, but my daddy was killed September 1987, and my mama said, Lord, I got 4 boys. I'm going to raise them or I'm going to kill them trying. Mm-hmm. And we had neighbors that didn't have an ounce of Mims blood that, what you doing around here? Get home. And they had no cell phones, but mama said, what you was doing around there? What I'm trying to say is we got to change. We got to change what's going on in our community, Oliver. It ain't the same. So I'm going to get off and just,
Thank you.
Thank
you, Big Al.
I done buried a lot of kids. And people would tell me all the time, we got a fatherhood roundtable, a mentorship group, but I'm not going to put the wolves with our sheep. You understand?
Yes, sir.
One size don't fit all. So I'm gonna get off, and I just brought that up.
And
you be safe. God bless you.
You have a great weekend, and please tell your family I said hello.
I love you too, man. You be safe.
God bless you,
all right?
big brother. Love
all
you.
right.
Line number 2, West Bank Mag. What's up, Mag?
What up, Big OT? What's happening, man? How you doing, brother?
Me and Dr. Wyatt holding it down, Mag. What's up with you?
Man, y'all getting it done. Y'all getting it done on this rainy morning. But I just want to chime in. I've heard Mr. Mims, and I love Mr. Mims. He's done his work in the community. He's been around. But I want to share just a slight different perspective.
Okay.
I love when these kids call me Unc. And I'll tell you why.
Me too.
When they call me Uncle Pops, I'm their daddy brother.
Yeah.
Listen to what I'm saying.
That's
I'm their
respect.
daddy brother for real, OT. You know how we used to be.
That's respect.
So I was walking to the second line. The only second line I've been to is to go see one of the guys I work with. He was with the Treme Steppers.
You ain't come out to
and the
see
little
me?
guy,
You ain't come out to
yeah,
see
little
me,
shorty.
guy?
Yeah, little shorty.
All right.
Shane.
Well, I was out there too.
I work with Shane. Yeah, so I'm walking on Broad Street. First second line I've been to like 20 years. This was about 3 years ago. So I'm walking, and a young man walking ahead of me. So I kind of slowed down because he had a little beard in his hand, had his pants sagging a little bit. He turned around and he said, Unc, can you check my car with me, see if I'm parked right? Because I don't want to get told. I say, yeah, nephew, I got you. But matter of fact, I'm worried about how I'm parked. I think I might be close. You could check me too. So, man, I was so proud to hear him call me Unc, because I am his daddy's brother. And they don't have a way to reach us. They might not be in their vocabulary to say sir and mister yet. And I get with Mr. Mims is old school like me, but I look younger. I look like I'm 40.
Right.
But when they call me Unc at the casino, like if we do a little sports game and they call me Unc, man, I get this sense of pride. That's respect to me. Now, I could be wrong, but that sounds like respect to me and them reaching out to bring us together. You know, that's my first point. But I don't think we can stop the guns. You know, they've renamed the AR America's Rifle.
Right.
It's not automatic rifle anymore. It's America's Rifle.
Right.
How do you take people cars away, OT? And I'm going to sit down and listen after this. But I want to know, if I'm going to come and take your rifle, I think I might have a better chance taking your car at this point. All you got to do is go to a gun show and you'll know what I'm saying is true. I think Obama had it right. We just got to be more responsible with them.
Well,
I'm going to hang up and listen.
Say, Big Mac, appreciate you, man. Have a blessed weekend too, man. All right. Yeah. I mean, look, but they're taking your guns too. And if you're leaving your gun in your car, they're taking your car and your gun.
Well, to both callers' points, I understand where Brother Mims is coming from because we do a lot of work side by side, bearing a lot of children together. So I understand the trauma of that. Like he feels the trauma every single time he goes through those motions. But to the second caller's point, if the children felt they could relate to us in a way, then you allow them to relate to us in that way. I want them to look at me as whatever they need to look at me as, because if they're talking to me, at least they're talking to somebody.
That's what I wanted to elaborate on, and it's a great segue. We got Sess 45, the creator of Youth Day NOLA, as well as probably the leading Katrina commemorative event, and fighting for it to be a holiday, not statewide, or recognized as a holiday here in our city. I'm like, if the kids are comfortable with you, they're gonna call you on. What's up, partner? And that's only because there's a sense of an air there where they feel they can do that. Because when they don't feel comfortable, they ain't telling you nothing.
And they're not calling you on.
And they're not calling you on.
If they call you on, they coming in peace.
And they might not even respond to you. So Wes McMack was talking about how he felt good when kids call him Unc, because he's like, I'm your daddy's brother, or there's a sense that they're comfortable with you. Sess 45, our listening audience.
Good morning, listeners. Like some people, we got to always preface, a lot of our conversation with some people, because it's not all. Sometimes folks want to, like, box everybody in the
one size
group.
fit all.
Yeah. So some, young people, they have manners, and, some, don't. And some will, call you pops, call you unc. I even got, like, I'm in my mid-40s, right? I have 30-year-old guys calling me unc. And I'm like, come on, bro.
But it's because it's the wisdom of it all, right?
Yeah,
they respect your wisdom. They respect your voice.
They know Sess
That's
45.
all.
Yeah, So, but I think that's the generational piece. And I think with Mr. Mims, I think is really about looking at what the climate of New Orleans is right now. It is a different New Orleans. So the communities that we had pre-Katrina, they not the communities that we have now, because you don't know your neighbor, you don't know the lady around the corner. So those communities are totally different. So we have to adapt and adjust to what the new New Orleans look like and make a new village, because the old village is gone. It's not going to come back. We got to adapt to the new village and make it a village that's work. Make it the way that we want it to be from moving forward from now to the future.
We're talking to Sess 45. Sess, one of our topics was community involvement, right?
Yeah.
So there's a new village, there's a new mix. Certain communities are gone, or they've been moved to other territories. I don't even say neighborhoods now. They've been moved so far that they're in other territories. So how do you establish community involvement in communities that are not only in transition, but ones that have been displaced? Because you're one of those proponents who says that nothing is sustainable or nothing works without community involvement. So how do you do that in a new community, especially where it's different?
Yeah, I think similar to what we was talking about previously, like we got to meet the people where they are. Some people, they just don't have the education and the training. They don't have the moral compass that a lot of us would like folks to have. In a lot of these different areas, they in a different economic status. We still living in poverty, here in New Orleans, and there's a lot of elements that need to change. There's a lot of things that need to happen and upgrade in our communities. And so you got to just meet the people where they at. So when we go into these communities, they have their own ecosystem. They know who's, the bad apples, in the bunch. They know the people who trying to make a change. And we have to be the ones who are leading the charge. Like, I don't want this generation to have to wonder who cared about them, so we are actively being the ones that you could visibly see that, hey, they taking the torch, they doing the work, and they're encouraging other people to join in to do the work, to be active in our community.
Before Dr. Wyatt jumps in, I'd love her to jump in on this, because I think she'll understand I know she'll understand where I'm going. and I can say this to you because I know you understand it too. You had to feel a kind of ways when the city was announcing all of the success in crime reduction and down 71% with juvenile offenders, this community leading the way, parts of the East and parts of the community that were historically violent now were some of the safest places to live. And I really want to get into CS45's mind. Well, you know, a lot of those seeds were planted a couple of years ago with the Youth Day, with walking those communities, with establishing and talking to those kids on the corner. Were you upset by the fact that the community in general wasn't given the credit that it deserved, especially when you know, because we've done this before, you know it don't just come from the police department, or were you just celebrating the fact that at least it was headed the right way?
Yeah, I was celebrating. When we have a goal to get from, A to B, long as we get to B, so it doesn't matter about credit because we're not, doing it for credit. We just want the progress to happen. And so knowing that the numbers are down and it's visible and you can see it, you can check the data. For me, it's about celebrating all of the people that I see doing the work and some of the people we don't see doing the work. So knowing that, man, all of these people, the same way you can hear the numbers and celebrate the wins, it was the same way when we heard the numbers that made us get active and be a part of the process to make those numbers go down. And so we want to see all of the people who just doing the work, be recognized for doing the work, but we want more people to come because we want those numbers to keep coming down. We want the community to stay active and just be self-determined and make this community the way we want it to be.
So I think part of doing that is just being intentional about the business of our communities.
Yeah.
Like even though New Orleans is not what we once knew it to be, we still can be intentional about creating a village that we want for our children, because it takes us as parents to be able to instill in our children that you have to respect Seth when you see him, and if Seth see you doing something, he has my permission to correct you, right? That's how we get back to the village mentality. I've always told my son, always, he knew every one of my friends, and he knew every one of my friends, if they saw him out there doing the wrong thing, I don't have to be present for them to correct him. I think there's love in correction. I think when somebody goes out of their way to correct your behavior, that is because they want to see you do better. If I ignore you doing the wrong thing, I'm going to just let you crash out. There's no love in that, right? So we have to just get back to, even though it's different, we have to get back to the business of being intentional about creating the village that we want to see for our children. And the issue that I have the most is we have a lot of parents that don't have the capacity to parent. Right? And everybody blaming the parent for not parenting, but they don't know how to parent, right? They don't have the capacity to parent. But when you don't have the capacity to parent, you have to be open to people giving you the tools or helping and assisting you with the tools to be able to parent better. So I have never shied away from somebody correcting me to help correct my son. I've never been shied away from being corrected, because I believe there's love in correction. That's my belief.
I think that's a good segue for, especially for someone who you demand accountability, right, on the system, whether it's elected officials, departments, agencies. When CS45 and his group walks in the room, y'all looking for partnerships, y'all looking for folks to do their job. Do you have the same level of expectation for people in the community too?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely expect the citizens to participate. And one thing I'm going to share is that, I'm still learning. I'm still growing. And I understand that a lot of the citizens are learning and growing too. To Dr. Wyatt's point, is like folks are, they where they are, but they need help. They need assistance. Yes. They need to experience the things that'll help them grow, as parents. And so some of those parents, they don't have the capacity, as you said, but we have to assist them. A lot of times, a lot of the programs are just for youth. they just for the kids, but like these adults need, educational programs. They need, programs to help elevate them, as parents, because sometimes we expect them to know. We expect them to understand that this is not, the appropriate behavior. I hear about parents all the time who say they'll rather their child, smoke weed in the house, do whatever, even have their friends over. But then, that house is the house that get raided because you allowed this, stuff to happen, in your home. So when these cars get broken in, they feel comfortable bringing the guns, over here because you would rather they be indoors instead of, not, allowing that, period. So some situations you just got to deal with them in a way that folks can be, educated, and we all grow as a village.
So I want to say with meeting you where you are, I learned several years ago, right, about your expectations of people are fine, right, but their life and their life journey is different from yours. And I went to a training with Touchpoints, and it's where I get my asset building. I look for the asset first. I'm not looking to build on a negative. I want to, even in a negative situation, I'm looking for something positive. And they did a scenario in this workshop that I was in, where there was this kid in school that was having a lot of major issues. So they got the parents to come to talk to the school counselor and the teacher. And so when the parents came to talk to the school counselor and the school counselor and the teacher were upset because of the appearance of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
The dad was sagging. Their ability to communicate wasn't at the best. And their understanding and comprehension didn't seem to be where they wanted it to be to relate to the behavior of the child. And so the counselor and the teacher were not comfortable with the parents. And so what the person in the training said, well, first of all, that was the wrong position to take. They should have celebrated that the parents came.
Because all too often we operate from a deficit mindset.
Right.
Like you could correct the undesired behaviors, but the first thing we do is celebrate the fact that you're here.
Yeah, they showed
that
up.
You're here, because half the time getting them there is more than half of the battle. And so I think when you focus on things like clothing to begin with, and you don't say, well, thank you for being here first, you turn them completely off. I know a lot of fathers who sag their pants, but they had everything that I gave at my school, right? Yeah. But I'm just a different sort of leader for me. I want to focus on the fact that I need your children here. My kids were acting out because, like the hoodies and all of that, they put that stuff on their head because they don't have no haircuts. Right. So I partnered with a barbershop, and every Monday the barbers came and donated their services and cut my baby's hair in my office, right?
And so, Seth,
it's things like that.
I set the table for that because you have an uncanny ability, your team, to walk into a negative situation.
Yes.
And have a positive income.
Right.
Is it because you're looking for because you see some positive, you see some hope?
Well, I look at the best possible outcome in everything I do, and I, tell my family that.
Too.
Yeah. So just changing the mindset that, we have, we like pray for the best and, hope for the worst, or hope for the, whatever the saying is, right? It's like, nah, the best out of everything, the best possible outcome. So a part of me just learning and growing is, of course, listening to motivational, videos and stuff like that. And I was listening to one of my guys, and it was like just talking about, well, how tall will a tree grow? You know what I'm saying? And like the tree gonna grow as tall as it can. It's gonna stretch out. And humans, we stagnate our capabilities, our abilities. So we stop our growth. It's like, how many push-ups can you do?
Right.
And somebody might limit it and say I can do 50 or 100, but it's unlimited. You stop, take a break, and you do some more.
I believe part of your success too, Seth, is the fact that it's a judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
A lot of our children don't come to us because they know they're coming into a space where they're already prejudged. They're already limited expectations of what they can and can't do. And when children know that you actually see them, and you actually value them, and you actually care about them kids will run through walls for you. And I've always said that. A lot of the crime that we're seeing is their ability to talk to you in a way that is uncomfortable for you because the way they try it is not working. So I'm going to get your attention in the worst possible way, but at least I have your attention.
Right.
That's a lot of that is because of that. When you sit down and you ask these children questions and you talk to them, you'll really and truly see that all they want is your attention. They want a hug. They want to be seen, loved, valued, right?
Yes.
As does anybody.
They want
we
that
got
love.
we got 3 minutes left. And talking about getting attention, you got the nation's attention in the 19th anniversary.
Yes.
So everybody was planning for the 20th year, but for this commemorative event for Katrina, you guys, this 19th year, y'all brought national and international voices, celebrities and stuff. Talk about that commemorative event. Talk about how you guys made the 19th as big as they're trying to make the 20th, and why that was important to you, and this effort to make this a holiday.
So
this is a Katrina.
Yeah. So this past Saturday we did the 19th annual Katrina March and Second Line.
Celebrities, Hip Hop Caucus,
Thursday.
Richard,
Thursday we had a press conference, announcing the 19th annual Katrina March, which happened on the 19th annual, anniversary of Katrina. And for me and the team and everybody, it was super important that we make this one huge and keep the momentum rolling into the 20th anniversary, so all of the parties can see how important it is to the people. And when you have the elected officials and you want to make this a local and state holiday, they have to see that this is something that the community cares about in order for them to fight for it and go to bat with you, from a legislative standpoint. And we know that people don't come out for the 9 sexy years, the 16th through the 19th, so
5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
It's super packed, but we know the things that we want to do for the 20th anniversary, and it's huge. It's humongous. We got a lot of activations scheduled for the whole, 2025 for the whole 20th anniversary.
And the table was set. As someone been in this game a long time, and I've never told him this before, the thing that there are a lot of people who want to blow the system up, and sometimes it should. There are a lot of people who complain about the system. They have a right to complain. But CES 45 has learned the system, still learning, and how to make it work together for what you say those outcomes.
Yeah.
And I've watched that growth. And you still hold folk accountable, but you seem to have this method where you begin to understand inside and out.
Yeah. So we want to do the work for one. We want to do the work for one, and we want the people to get involved, and we're not just leaning on the elected officials, so we want to support the folks that we elect so that they can do their job effectively and, just have that support. But the people got to do it first, and then, hopefully, all of the elected officials get behind
How do people get in touch with CES 45, whether it's Support Sisters on the Struggle, NOLA Youth Day, or even the efforts to make the Katrina holiday a holiday for us in this city?
Definitely. You could go to youthDayNOLA.org. You can catch me online on social media, CES45, SESS45. You could call the phone. I'm very reachable, 504-342-6977. Or you can see me in the streets getting active.
Well, thank you for what you do, Cess. We appreciate you.
So in a few years, are we going to be CES 450?
Nope.
CES 450? CES 100? Still CES 45.
It's going to still be CES 45, the guy from the night walk. Let's get it.
Hey, he from the 9 and he don't mind living.
Yes, sir.
Right, that's the new slogan. When we take a break, when we talk about parents and education, one of the leading CEOs, not only just leading with education, but NOLA Love, and the NOLA Love Summit has become quite an event. None other than J-Mac. Y'all can call him Jamal McMealy. We'll be back after the break. Whose station?
Our station.
Our station.
Hi, this is Coach Sash with WBOK Sports. Join us every Friday night for our prep preview show, where we'll have excellent analysis, we'll talk about the matchups of the evening, and get you ready for the night's games. Every Friday night from 6 to 7 o'clock on WBOK 1230 AM.
I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. Now to the latest in that deadly Georgia shooting.
The 14-year-old suspect is set to appear in court today. Colt Gray is facing 4 felony counts of murder. Authorities say the teen used an AR-15 style weapon in the shooting before surrendering to school resource officers when they surrounded him. The suspected shooter's father, 54-year-old Colin Gray, has also been charged. He's facing 14 counts, including second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. Authorities say those charges are directly related to the actions of his son. Your monthly wet water bills could be getting a makeover thanks to recent actions by the New Orleans City Council. They're working to prevent any inaccurate bills from landing in your mailbox. This is just one of the steps they discussed in this week's council meeting. Leaders also now cleared the way to start looking for an outside contractor to come in and make sure inaccurate or inflated bills don't go out the door. But if that bad bill does end up on your mailbox, council made way for the firm that already is on staff to now get to work with you much sooner. And finally, football is back in New Orleans. The Saints take on the Carolina Panthers in their home opener. The Saints are looking to finally make it back to the playoffs. Kickoff is at noon. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK.
Discover the Leah Chase School, NOLA Public School's first new direct-run traditional public school in nearly 2 decades. We offer excellence in math, science, English, and social studies, focusing on unlocking every child's potential. Every scholar receives a personal device, regular assessments, clear family communication, as well as transportation services in a nurturing arts-inclusive environment. Secure your child's K through 5th grade slot today. Apply at enrollnolaps.com and embark upon a unique educational journey.
Calling all college students. The National African American Insurance Association presents their free 2024 Career Fair and Expo September 17th and 18th. To register, go to NAAIA.national on Instagram and use the link in the bio.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 a.m.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 a.m.
We are back. Boy, I can't wait until we have Butch and Beverly. If you're still out there listening, man, this reality show, this Little Black radio station, the off-air conversations are still fire, ready for VH1 Bravo or some form of cable.
Tell them cut the check.
But until that happens, right, until you come with the offer, we right here in the studio at WBOK 1230. I'm right here on Xavier's campus on Norman Francis Parkway, man. Great conversation with Sess 45.
Yes.
Man. It's so good to see the kind of bottom-up effort that he's had that's actually making a difference. And I'll say it right here when I asked him the question about everybody's taking credit for crime reduction, but you can't forget them NOLA Youth Days in the parks in some of the most violent neighborhoods.
And just like he said,
community walks.
And the unsung people,
Right,
the people you don't even
right.
know doing the work,
them
right?
community walks. Right?
Yeah.
NOLA Keys and them in those neighborhoods, giving away musicians.
Yes.
Equipment, right, for music. And stuff like that.
Bradisha Harness.
And instruments. That's absolutely
She's
right.
doing the
So
sports part with the kids.
all
yeah.
of that stuff
All that
had
stuff
an
works.
impact. Now we got to make it sustainable. But talking about sustainable, wow, when you talk about education in this community, man, and the sustainable effort to make sure that it works for all of our kids, and this whole effort around NOLA Love, this youth summit, Jamar McNeely, and Pastor Dr. Preacher, Soul Reacher Jonathan Everett. Man, guys, welcome back to the Good Morning Show.
Thank you for having us. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Pastor Everett. Jamar, set the table for. Well, first of all, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine this morning. Today is an exciting day, even though it's raining. It's a lovely day outside, based on what we're going to do for the children of New Orleans.
Right, because people forget sometimes they'll see you as Jamar McNeely, CEO of Inspire NOLA, but you're a parent and an educator. Still,
100% correct. So thank you for asking, Dr. Wyatt. Thank you for always checking on me as well.
And then, Pastor Everett, How are you? You know, people see you national news at these national press conferences next to these mega preachers, and you still Jonathan Everett from the Fisher Project, ain't you?
Still running through the breezeways, going to the league, getting the tennis ball. Still trying to find out how I can play cool can again.
They know, but you're doing okay.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Thank you so very much for having us.
Yeah, turn the sound up for us, Nyron, please. Jamar, this whole where did the NOLA Love effort start? Because now it's something that people anticipate. They look forward to. How did it start? And what was the impetus for this movement now that, man, people can't wait till that time of year?
Well, I have to tell you, your previous callers and your interview you had before has got me inspired today to make sure that today reaches our youth. NOLA Love came about a couple of years ago with unfortunate understanding that we've been losing a lot of our youth in our city. So we wanted to find a way to not only show them love, but affirmations on who they are, what they're going to be, and the type of students that there are in our schools. So about 5 years ago, we started doing these rallies centered around motivating our students, inspiring our students, bringing affirmations to our students, because we do not believe our students are a lost generation.
You had a march, too.
We had a march, too. We do not believe our students are a lost generation. We believe our students can do some phenomenal things, and we need the parents to support our youth to make sure those important things continue.
Well, listen, I can agree. I think that Jamar and I have had very candid conversations about
Heated at times.
Heated, but it's necessary around what he could do, because I told him years ago, I said, you could be the blueprint for how Black children are educated in this city. I said that to him, and we weren't even getting along at the time. Right. But I keep telling people there is love and accountability, love and correction, and I knew the potential for what he was putting together with Inspire NOLA. And I didn't think that he needed to take pointers from any other network. They needed to be taking the pointers from him. And so I'm very proud of what he's put together and what he has going on. And when you talk about that parent piece, we have to realize that a lot of our parents are ill-equipped to do what we're asking them to do. So everything that we're putting in place for children should be an extension of what we want our parents to be involved in. That literacy stuff, the parents need to be there as well. A lot of them are not reading on the level that they should be reading. When you talk about appearance, a lot of them don't know what the appropriate attire or appearance should be for different events. But my thing is, we have to stop treating parents from a deficit mindset. Celebrate the little wins so that we can grow into bigger wins, just like you were saying about how the parents showed up. Celebrate the fact that he was there, and then have some conversation around how to grow him in the area of attire.
Pastor Everett, Donnie McClurkin would say that a savior is just a sinner who fell down, right? And got up. This NOLA Love to this little big-head boy from the Fisher Project that wears God's crown now. This NOLA Love series, what inspired you to be part of it? Because now you're a major voice in this city with this effort. What was it about it that got Jonathan Everett and made him want to be involved?
First, I want to say, OT, thank you so very much for all you do, and Mr. McNeely, just for having his heart for the city is just amazing. But then Dr. Wyatt, we grew up together, man. Both of us was playing on the monkey balls, all those type of things. You know, but one of the biggest pull for me was, you know, to be, number one, to be what communities have always challenged the church to become, and that is a church that functions properly and distinctively outside of the four walls. And to always find the intersection between organizations that's really making an impact. My major pull was two things. It was impactful. It's impactful. And number two, it's all about the people, right? So, you know, this philosophy I have, if it does not impact people, I don't want to be a part of it. Outside of that, it has nothing to do with what we are called to do as believers. So for me, I don't believe like I'm restricted to the four walls of the church. I believe like anything, you know, you go where you call, your calling will bring, your purpose will bring you to different people. And when I saw it, when I had an opportunity to stand in it with Mr. McNeely, I said, oh no, man, we got to be a part of this, because I mean, he have the students, I have the parents. I told him the other day, we got the biggest church in the city. You got the kids, I got the parents. So that was my reason for being involved.
Well, listen, I thank you for being involved. I think he's a different kind of pastor, and I think he's the type that the children in my generation,
he been breaking the church rules for a long
they'll respond
time,
to
but
it.
following God's
Listen,
rule.
absolutely.
He know I told it him.
But just like you always give me credit for being able to take a complex thought and break it down plain and simple. That's what he does with the Word of God, right? It's not in all of that hooping and the hollering and the he talks to you biblically, but he talks to you personally, right? And it's almost like I love going to church where I feel like the sermon was crafted for me. And when I go sit in a Jonathan Everett church, it's almost like I'm like, why you all up in my business today? Like they got other people in here, you know what I mean? But that's the effect that anybody that is effective in what they're trying to do should have. You should be indicted so that you move in a way that it's going to better the community.
So Jamal McNeely, you know the law, you know the rules. You're educated. You understand the separation of church and state. So how is it that you craft all of these movements and all of these efforts spiritually? How do you get away with that, including this partnership with Pastor Everett?
Well, it's about finding partnerships that really rally around our students. This is centered around bringing our students through difficult conversations with Bishop Jakes to talk about today, as well as overcoming obstacles. And in some cases, it's about just doing the right thing. When you're able to align and celebrate our students and talk to our students about what they're going through, a lot of our students will be featured on panel today. We have youth choir singing. Students will be over 4,000 students that be in attendance. Today is their day. So it's not necessarily about separating church and state. Today is about celebrating our youth, motivating our youth, and what they're able to do not only at the rally, but going to the service this afternoon, where now you're connecting the youth rally to now a revival service in the afternoon. Now our students are just a day filled of inspiration where nobody's telling them what they can't do. Nobody's telling them what they can't become. They're not falling victim to what society think they are. Today is about celebrating them and telling them that they can be the next great leaders of our city.
Pastor Everett, the separation of church and state, y'all walking a fine line, ain't you?
Well, the governor blurred that line when he put the 10 Commandments in the schools. So
that's where we were.
So,
Pastor Everett.
Yes, very fine line, man. But I would say this, and I know Dr. Wyatt would appreciate this. You know, when I was in Africa, I was sitting down in Guanabako. I'm gonna say Bandaptai, Kenya, and I discovered, man, some of the same underlying issues we have here is the same underlying issues they have there. As we were talking about helping the kids and providing water and education in those in Kenya, we start to discover that the more they empower the kid, but then when we send that kid back to a broken village, it's a disservice to all of them. So we start talking about, well, I think it's commendable or a strategy to bring the parent and the kid in one room and try to empower them together so they both hear the same message, both hear the same empowerment. And when Mr. McNeely said, man, let's go for it, oh, man, listen, I thought that was brilliant because we're dealing with these same underlying issues both here and across the world. We empower the kid, but one young man from Baltimore said, but what if the village is messed up? You know, he said, take a village to raise a kid, but what if the village is messed up? So, you know, I think this is really amazing, and I believe that this is the start of something very great to bring the kid and the parent together, that both of them are empowered, and both of them can go home and start strategizing about how they can change their lives and change the course and direction of their future.
So let's say that, Pastor Everett.
Yes, sir.
We know that there are churches throughout this country, and, you know, I've always said you got the smallest mega church in America, and that theory has been proven out. But in churches all across America, it's usually the pastor and the ladies.
Yes, sir.
Void of black men and many young folk. It's not like when I grew up and my mom didn't ask us to go to church. She said you said you was going to church. What is it about this movement where you and specifically with Jamal McNeely and what you've done with your church, and I don't want to say it's a religious movement, where you've been able to talk to men and young men and children. How is that happening?
Well, I think the reconstruction of leadership has been my very intentional approach. So I tell all of our leaders, I lead people, but I manage policies. And for years growing up in church, I discovered that preachers try to manage people. Instead of managing them, you have to lead them, right? And when they did it in church, man, it was some form of slavery. Like, it's like all these rules and da-da-da-da-da-da. But I feel, you know, and what has been successful for me is, no, I manage the policy. We're not about to sit here and talk about why you're 20 minutes late for choir rehearsal. The policy says if you're 20 minutes late for choir rehearsal, you don't sing Sunday. We're not arguing about that, right? So to understand these different administrative approach to church is to allow people to see what the potential is. Be the man so the man can see what a man can be like. Lead the people so they can see what spirituality and see the manifestation of what prayer look like. Come outside the four walls and partner with Inspire NOLA and see what great collaborations look like. You got to lead people and manage the policies and the infrastructure and the systems and all that stuff that goes around them. So that has been my thing. And I've been telling our church, everybody saying, Pastor, how you been so creative? I'm not creative. I allow my ministry approach be led by the needs of people. So when I hear teachers Ubering to school and I hear teachers don't have gas to get to school, guess what I do? Man, let's put some gas in their cars. When I hear the unhoused community and never ate crawfish, and I hear the unhoused community is struggling, you know what I say? Man, let's bring them a jazz fest under the bridge. The needs of people drive my ministry approach. I'm not being creative. Everybody keep asking me, what's the secret? I told them the secret is there is no secret.
Look, I don't want to cut you off, but for folk who know that gas card thing is real, they used to call him the gas card preacher. Right? He would do his gas giveaways, and people would show up at the church and say, man, you coming to church? No, I'm coming to see if Pastor Everett got a gas card.
But everything he's talking about is common sense. That's what good school leaders do. That's what anybody that's in a leadership position ought to do, empower people so that they can maximize their potential. You're not trying to control a situation. You're trying to give people the ability to shine in the lane that they're in. That's common sense stuff. No different than when I said the babies are struggling with behavior because they need a haircut, then you bring in barbers. That's what he's saying.
Look, we're going to go to
fill
break.
the gap.
We're going to go to break, and when we come back, I want to ask you the same question I asked Cess45. Okay. Because you, like Cess45, have tried to get all the components of accountability that work together. You may challenge the system, but you think they're all important to get the outcomes.
Correct.
I want to ask you, so when you see city leaders or politicians touting success, knowing that the seeds have been planted by some of the work that you do, how do you feel about that? Hold on to that thought. Jamar McNeely, Pastor Jonathan Everett. Whose station?
Our station.
It's our station, yeah.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Today is another first warning weather alert day because of another potential for flooding. Some spots already have more than 3 inches of rain, with an additional 3 to 5 on the way. Rain will happen all day and linger into the first half of Saturday. Highs for today will be into the upper 70s to lower 80s. By the time we do make it to the rest of the weekend, dew points will start to drop and things will feel a whole lot better. For the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC.
The fresher, the better.
Ask your healthcare provider about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Sponsored by Pfizer. Welcome back to school, families and scholars. NOLA Public Schools is excited to kick off another exciting year of learning, growth, and success. Our dedicated teachers have been preparing all summer to provide an engaging and enriching experience for every student. Let's embrace new challenges, celebrate achievements, and make this school year the best one yet. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS by visiting our social media channels. Here's to a year filled with curiosity, creativity, and community. Attend today, achieve tomorrow. Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor. We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Because, I can be like my boy. I can test you. And when you pass the test, I'm like, okay, that's somebody I can learn from. First of all, I'm surrounded in the studio now with people I can learn from. Jonathan Everett, several years ago before I was elected, he thought that I had some value. Of course, everybody knows my life was a public life. It was a very public, right? Didn't know where you would fit. But this young pastor, teacher, preacher, brought me into this ministry. And he interviewed me on the series that he was doing, and he talked about what was in my head, and my mind, and my heart. Jamar McNeely, you can say what you want, but he's developed a system of accountability where whether you're for charter or against charter, with him, the outcome has always been the best product for our children.
Correct.
And how do we challenge parents and communities to be better? And I tell folk with Dr. Wyatt, when I became a fan instantly when I saw how well her mind worked and how well she could think and how versatile she was, so much more than what people had pinned her and put her in between two lines. And I'm like, oh no, she can fit anywhere. So we were talking, guys, about just the splendor, the beauty of someone like me who's been around, being around people that I can learn from. Now, I gave you a question. You got your own little way of challenging the political system, challenging agencies, even challenging the educational system. But when you see folk touting success, right, and you know that you've been part of planting some of those seeds, how do you feel?
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge the success, but you understand success is just for that one day, right? And we have to understand that we're to continue to progress beyond just that success and not get comfortable in where we are. So a lot of celebrations can happen. A lot of people can say what they've done. A lot of people can always tout how we've changed the system. But I always think about how we really changed the people for who it really needs to be changed for. What are the outcomes that are there? What are we really producing for those families and those kids that's going to make them better off for the long-term future? Unfortunately, as an organization and just as an individual, I'm not caught up into success. I'm not caught up into bragging about results. What I'm about is making sure that it's continuous, making sure that our students are always progressing, making sure that it's sustainable and that we can see some long-term effects that change our city. So I think everyone needs to have a perspective on what we're doing, have a perspective on what we're accomplishing, and also make sure that we're continuing to make sure it's sustainable and increasing every forward.
Yeah, I think the model. I'm excited about what is happening. My son was an Inspire NOLA student
at Nicar.
And so when I told you earlier about the choice, we chose, and part of me choosing wasn't necessarily because I went to CAR. It was about making certain that I could put him somewhere where I can hold people accountable to what they say they're going to do for my son. And everybody at that school and every facet of that school knew I was coming. I'm coming to support not just my son. I'm going to the softball games. I'm going to the basketball games. I'm going to football games, because sometimes children just need to see people show up for them. Everybody doesn't have a parent that's invested. But I hug the children, I love on the children, all of them, and that's why the respect for me is there for them, because they know I'm gonna show up. If you have an issue, call me. I'm gonna show up for you. He knows I've gone to his school to advocate for students, even with my son being a student there, because I want to make certain that they know that it's not to attack. It's to help him grow. It's to help the organization grow. And sometimes you need, like we said, people in the room that they're not going to just say, yes, sir.
Pastor
yes,
Everett,
ma'am.
Showing up, underestimated the power of showing up.
Yes.
Pastor?
Oh, man, that's vital. Showing up, your presence is a presence. It's vitally important. The image, who he controls the language, controls the narrative, right? It's about who we are trying to project. I have this thing that kids only replay what has been displayed before them. So when we asking questions about where you get that from, come on, man, we know exactly where they got it from.
Right, that's right.
That kid is only replaying what has been displayed before them, showing up to support them, showing up and make sure that you're at them PTA meetings, showing up and make sure that you are just concerned about your kid. Sometimes throughout the week, I just pop in at schools.
Right.
My pastor did that for me when I was in middle school and high school. He'd just pop up at my school just to check on me and see if I'm okay, or do I have trouble? Am I going through anything? Those are vitally important roles. That's in life. Everybody wants somebody to show up for them.
Yes.
Well, we want people to show up to talk about this NOLA Love series. It's really the summit may be today. Pastor Jakes will be here with us all day, and then finally the service at Pastor Everett Church. But talk about this series and why it's important.
I think today is the kickoff. Today is the kickoff talking about love, most importantly. The most disheartening thing is just how many of our youth do not have that support at home. How many of our youth do not see that love. So today is a wonderful day. We have a youth summit today starting at 10 a.m., followed by a revival at Rock of Ages tonight starting at 7 p.m. Then next Friday, we have another celebration where Dr. Y will be one of the speakers. Bob will be one of the speakers. Right. Juvenile will be one of the speakers. That's on next Friday. Then we're closing out on the 20th with another large rally at Xavier, surrounding our students all month with love, inspiration, support. And then our students will get into the voting cycle. They get into service projects where this whole year will be wrapped around love, support, and we're seeing some phenomenal things. One thing that I'm happy to say just for our organization, through these efforts, we're seeing our mastery levels increase. Inspire NOLA was the highest performing organization when it came to mastery growth in our city, as well as absolute scores. And that's important as we're doing it well-rounded, where we're not only trying to support our kids around love, but academics as well.
I enjoyed the leadership gathering. I thought that was brilliant to bring the different leaders from all of the schools and bring them together like that. I don't know why the school system in general hasn't done that in the past, because it allows the kids to set an agenda collectively and to have the middle school and the high school leaders all in the same room. That was brilliant.
I think it's important to understand if we're always going to try to talk about the negative, why not let them lead? Why not bring some students together who are empowered to be creative, and say what they want to see out of us? And we follow their agenda instead of always putting our agenda forth in front of them.
But Pastor Everett, this part of that, faith without work is there. But I'm gonna go to something, that conversation you and I had a few years ago. Well, folk talk about what's wrong with the kids, and I think you said, well, if you got to ask what's wrong with the kids, there's a group that was before the kids. Something was probably wrong with them, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. There's some inconsistencies, right? We talked about this, that somebody is not translating the transition. Like, we're not passing on the right information, or something happening where there's a gap in between information, where there's a gap in between examples. And I know everybody's trying their best to give the kids what they didn't have, but unfortunately they missing giving the kids the lessons they learned along the way. And that's one of the most important things that I think, whether it's in faith, whether you're in the world, it doesn't matter. It's the same principle, right? If I don't like my wife cooking on the left side of the stove, and she, there's a story that says that, hey, why you only cook on the left side of the stove? Oh, I only did it because my mama did it. Ask my mom. I go to the mama house. Hey, mama, why you only cook on the left side of the stove? Oh, I only did it because my mama did it. Okay, all right. Hey, grandma, why you only cook on the left side of the stove? Oh, I did that because I couldn't afford to get the right side fixed.
Right.
Right. So how many of those different mindsets we're passing down, not understanding the origin by which a person operates? And so I think faith, church, education, judicial system, every system has its inconsistencies as it relates to how we pass the information down. And I think today is a start of a brand new horizon for our city. that we're passing it down right, and we're giving them the charge to lead their life and not just respond.
I don't do much cooking, but I use the same burner every time I put a pot on the stove.
And that's
I'm serious.
And that's like
I ain't never thought about
everybody
that.
put everything in the oven on 350. No matter how big the turkey
Bring
is.
us home, Dr. Wyatt. Inspire love, Nola. Bring us home, man.
Listen, I just want to thank Jamar McNeely. I want to thank Cess 45, and of course my Fisher brother Jonathan Everett,
Right.
who say roses don't grow from concrete, right? So thank you,
That's right.
thank you for being here with us. And if you have time today at Xavier Convocation Center, the NOLA Love Youth Summit is going to start at what is that 9?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. It's going to start at 10 a.m. You do not want to miss this. The children will be there.
What time is my panel?
10:45.
About 10:45.
10:45. Oh, so OT, you on the panel?
And Doc, you
OT.
can't forget about Revival tonight.
Revival is
Revival
tonight.
Yeah.
Revival is
Come
tonight.
be revived.
It's all day.
Get
And
there early.
Get
Limited
there
space.
early. And I mean, it's a series. September 13th will be another one. I will be there. And September 20th, my birthday, which is a national holiday.
And today is Ollie's, little Ollie's birthday, Pastor
Happy
Everett,
birthday,
my son.
Ollie.
No doubt about it. Look, WBOK
Oh,
12:30 a.m. Whose station?
Our station.
It's our station. Love you, Pastor Jamal McNeely.
Yes, sir.
Ain't nothing like this whole Inspire NOLA Love series, man, making a difference in our community, right? The NOLA Youth Love Summit, this whole series starts today at Xavier's Convocation Center. Be there? No, be there. You won't have
10
to be
a.m.
square. 10 a.m., baby.